All right, now here's the recording. Okay, so we'll just start from the web here. And for rows, let's see. I would check if you can see rows on my screen here. Maybe check in your settings, go to system, sound, and make sure that this is whatever you want it to be for both your input and output devices. Outputs up top, usually inputs down below. Oh, and if you're on a Mac, of course, it's not even going to make any sense. Never mind. Sorry, it's been a long time since I used a Mac. There is also a setting within Slack too. Um, let's see. If you come to settings on Slack, and then you'll see here microphone, and you can change that there. And then the last piece of troubleshooting I'd send you at is if you're on a PC, you can go to the volume here, right click, and check the mixer to make sure that you're not muted anywhere here. Well, it could be your network. It's saying slow network for you, two rows. I'm looking at the connection here. All right. Well, I'm gonna move forward, but okay. So it could be that. So I'm gonna go forward, and you can type any of the questions in Slack, and I'll get them here. Turn to alarms only. Put Slack on another screen, and okay. So just a quick review on what we did previously last week. So when we load it up, regardless if it's the web or if it's from the app, it's going to come right to the social media channel here. And when they load up, if it's a new user that's never logged in before, they have to come to account. I believe it's account, yeah, account and log in, and they'll get this here, and they have to enter all their stuff, obviously case sensitive. And just one other quick troubleshooting that I know happens with Macs is that for some reason iOS tries to make a capital letter on the first letter whenever you're entering something or starting something new. So they might enter it and it's going to capitalize it on them. So they have to go in, put the whole thing in, and then just, backspace it afterwards like this, to do that. So it's for whatever reason, that's what iOS likes to do. And then they'd press OK, and that'll do that. And all this, according to Bill, probably be gone at the end of the week here, this Facebook and disconnect and all that stuff, so we don't have to concern with any more of that. And then just a quick review on what we did last time with A and T lists or T windows. So A standing for alert windows, T standing for top list. Both have filters, just the difference was that the alert ones, when we right click, we go to configure here, they also have alerts here aside from the filters. And then I just want to stop for a second. I'm not delayed. You guys can see everything, hear everything well, right?
Yeah, everything looks good.
Okay, perfect. So that's the big difference between the alerts and the top lists. And then everything is searchable once again, right in these search tabs here, and you can see what's checked, what's selected. Some of these things have different values that you need to add to them. You don't have to, but when people are scanning for various things. And then, of course, I just always like to come back also to that right click and help will give us this every time on whether it's the alerts or the filters, and it'll load right at the top. So like I click new high, and this is going to tell us what it means here. When we minimize, we got Oops. Sorry, no minimize. Still getting used to the web myself. We'll come back to this tab here and we can see where we are at all for all that. So those are the big difference. An alert, once again, it's an event that happens. A new high, a new low, a crossing resistance, something to that effect. Where the top lists don't have an event, they just have filters saying show me stocks that are doing these specific things, and every 30 seconds it'll update that list of stocks that are making all those requirements essentially. So I think one of the other things to go through is, and I have the description. I dropped it in the marketing meeting the other day. The channel bar though, because this is somewhere that for a quick troubleshooting thing you can always send users to real fast. They're looking for, well, I'm looking for this kind of scan, or I'm looking for that kind of scan. So I believe I accessed everybody that Google Doc. I don't know what Phil and Julio are doing with it. I think my understanding is that when you hover over a channel, it's eventually going to, whatever my blurb was, say that. But in each one of these channels, it's essentially a theme. Momentum, meaning stocks that are moving kind of quickly. For this specific particular one, they're in an uptrend. And kind of the same thing with the Alpha Predator, and a lot of these will kind of repeat. And if you go through that Google Doc, you'll see that they all kind of repeat. Some of the themes, some of the scans, some of the ideas behind them. But it's a quick workaround, especially for users, that they can click on any one of these channels and it's going to load essentially a whole other layout for them that they can get to quickly. And it'll come with preloaded alerts and top lists. And the same thing applies right across the board on anything. A right click and a configure, and there you are. You're inside the configure. We come, once again to the summary, and it's going to tell us exactly what the scan was looking for. Again, review that the filters are always going to have this either teal color, whatever it is, or a purple color, displaying minimum and maximum values. When we come to the filters, you'll see here. So minimum, maximum, always set in those two same colors. And again, this is telling us what we're looking for essentially on those alerts or those events. So I'll stop and pause and for any questions.
I don't have anything really.
Okie dokie. So I'm gonna guess one of the things that you guys get a lot is to do with the AI. So I'm gonna move over to that actually now. On the channel bar, you have the AI channels. They're more of just a quick way to access any of the AIs, each one being an individual at the top three here for the different segments, as we call them. So, Holy Grail segment. And so, what that'll do, if you click it, it'll load so that this here, where it says Holy Grail, I'm going to bring up a EpiPen, Epic Pen. This here, where you see the strategies open, this is essentially Holy Grail. This is what the alert window looks like. If we click and go to 2.0, the same thing. The circle will remain the same, but now it's going to be Holly 2.0 is there. And so it's looking at the individual segments. If you go to the Omni AI channel, it's going to be all three combined. And we can know this by looking at right click and segments and see how it's on all here. And then we can segment it ourselves too as well. And we could do that with any of the channels really. If we come back to Holy Grail, we see up here it says Holy Grail's on, and we right click and we see segments. It's got Holy Grail selected right there versus having it all. Now I've switched it to all. So it's a quick workaround to get a user into looking at what Holly is doing. And there's other ways to filter things that she's doing too. You have all these columns here. And just like any of the other alert windows or the top list windows, everything's configured through a right click. So a simple right click and you're looking at, how we can filter the different trades, or if we look here, these are the actual strategies that she came to the day with here. So you can see there's a little line that divides between the trades versus the actual strategies. And then the same kind of thing here, you have a history function. Your actions function is going to be just basically setting up the sounds, which if you don't remember from the last one, in the web version, there's no text to speech, only like a beep sound or a ringing sound or whatever you want it to be. So if you click the play sound and you come to sound setup, There you have your options, and that's it for the options on the web version. There is no, you can't load your own options like you can with the app. If someone has a custom sound they want to add, you can do that on the app. If you want to hear her voice speaking, you can do that on the app, but unfortunately, it just won't work on the web version for whatever developmental reasons. But again, just to review, a right click on this, and you have all these different things here. And then the same kind of concept, you have all of the information displayed. So, for example, here we can see that at 12:26 p.m. my time, there is a short on this symbol here, PAGS. We click, we can see it loaded into the charts here, and we can see what the moderate profit was, money wise, the percentage of that, conservative profit, the exit reason, all these different columns are displayed. They're just displaying the different information that Holly's capable of showing. And in a right click, when we come to columns, you have the right side is essentially your master list of columns, every piece of information that can be displayed. The left side is what you do have displayed. And just simply, you click on, for example, let's look at time stop. We click that, and then we can add or come back, remove. Really simple. No hidden functions on any of that. Very straightforward stuff. So one of the things that I cover in the Google Doc too is a lot of times, what's the difference between Holly Grail 2.0 and Holly Neo. Grail is the original, and we'll call it the most conservative mode of the three, versus Holly 2.0. She takes, even though all the strategies are the same, the filters will be slightly different, each one allowing for more risk or more time to stick around in a trade if it is or is not working out. And then Neo comes to be the most aggressive. And to kind of coordinate with something you probably get a lot of questions about is relative volume, because it always seems like that's one of the most popular things that draws people to us. Is anything Holly Neo alerts to is going to have a high relative volume. So that's her real trick in the whole bunch of that group of things there. So I'll take a second here if there's questions about the AI or anything that users ask a lot that maybe you want to share here.
What does high relative volume mean?
So relative volume is simply a measurement of volume that's taken over a 30-day period, is the way that we do it. If anybody wants more into how the algo goes or anything like that, the answer is no, from Brad himself when I asked him. Essentially, though, what it does is it breaks the volume of any given stock into a 30-day period, and it takes that average over those periods, with one being the average. So, like, for example, here, let's see if I can bring up single stock window. Okay, so here we see a single stock window that I just brought up, and you can see here it's Apple is what it just happened to bring up, and the relative volume today was 1.23. So that just means it was doing 0.23 above that 30-day average today for the entire day, and the relative volume calculates during the day. So earlier during the day, for all I know, this might have said zero point 0.9 or it might have said 1.5, but at this point, at 4:45 p.m. today, because I do have it set to include pre and post market, it's going to show that the relative volume is right now 1.23 to this point in time, as a relative reference to the last 30 days. Now, one other thing I want to throw in there is that relative volume does not work pre-market, but it does work post-market. So that I know that's something else that might come up. Volume in the pre-market, we're just going to measure by shares only, is the only way that we do it, basically. There is no pre-market volume filter, so it's just setting a minimum amount of shares. If someone was like, well, I want a scan that's showing me whatever kind of volume, you just use the shares traded during the day filter for that. But that's essentially what relative volume is. It's just taking an average of those, and somehow there's some other calculations that are in there. What they are, that I don't think most anybody knows, with the exception of Brad and those guys. If any of that's not clear, let me know. Is there a reason you want a higher relative volume? Uh, yeah, people want relative high volumes, Rose, because nobody wants to trade a stock that's what we'd call illiquid. You want to trade stocks that are moving, that everybody else is interested in general. While our only capability isn't only for day traders. Like I'm not a day trader. It's not that I don't day trade, but in general I don't. Most people interested in the scan, they're attracted to day trading and the allure that that has. So nobody wants to trade a stock that nobody else is trading. So by using a filter like a relative volume filter or minimum volume filters, things like that, that shows that there's people that are interested in the trade. So that if I happen to buy some shares, there's going to be someone else to sell them back to at some point. If something has a real low relative volume and I buy it and then there's no one else to sell it back to later on, it's like you're stuck holding that stock until someone's interested. And at what price might they be interested in? You're stuck till essentially finding out what that is. Is that am I clear with that? Does that make sense? Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, just making sure. So I'm trying to keep like more trader speak out of this, more or less. More of just the actual technicals of the filters and the functions of the filters themselves, without getting too technical on the trading side. So, are there other questions on Holly or the channels or the segments or anything like that? All right, we'll move off of that. I guess the last thing that I'll leave with is that also from the last time, there's no brokerage plus in the web, so there's no automation of Holly in the web essentially. So that's you can cut things off right there if anybody's asking if they're on a Mac, they want to use brokerage plus. There's ways with Amazon Workstation stuff like that. Those are all Michael Noss questions because he's the master on that. And although I have intentions of doing or getting a Mac at some point in the not too distant future where I'll have him setting me up with that, for now that's kind of foreign territory as far as any of the Amazon Workstation parallels, any of that stuff goes. Those are the workarounds for it, but it's not straightforward or just simply plug it in and go as well. So, all right, we'll close Holly for now. We could circle back to it, of course, if anybody has any other questions. So, but I guess that just do a quick blurb here on the single stock window. The single stock window is essentially a snapshot of a whole bunch of different filters, more or less, that are going on in real time with a stock. So, for example, you see a smart stop here. Um, let's get it all linked together here. We'll get rid of Apple and we're going to make it all say the same thing. Sorry, lost the single stock window. Not sure where it's hiding on me now. My learning curve with the web as well. If I bring it over here, let's see what happens. All right, there we go. So, all right. So the single stock window is just real-time filters essentially. So instead of just having to look at the columns in one of the alerts, for example, like let's bring up, for fun, we'll just bring up the Alpha Predator channel. And just for this purpose, consider M Windows the same thing as an alert window, more or less. It's just there's multiple alerts in it. So if we look here, all we're seeing for the filters that are being displayed here is we have a change from close, the actual price, position and range year, and we're filtering how many shares are in the float. That's just all that this is displaying, besides that this alert went off at this time. Here we can also see things like short float, short growth, earnings, and then once again, all this is configured. A right click, configure, and we have all the available columns versus what it is displayed and selected here. So same concept as everything else, whether it's with Holly or with any of the other alert windows or topless windows, essentially. The difference being with this, though, is we're only looking at filters here. There's no alert to be had here. So again, it's just displaying what any of these filters that we're deciding to tell it to display are showing us in real time. Real simple. And then we can order the columns, obviously, left to right, up and down. Again, click and left or right, click or left or right, up or down. Same thing here. Every trader being different, what they want to display, but again, it becomes one of those easy things that once you start to get a hold of the software, um, everything is more or less done through right click and looking at what your options are in those right clicks. Save, share to cloud. Same thing here. So if we look once again, right click here and configure. That's on the single stock window. Right click here, uh, strategies, and then configure because this is a multi-strategy window. But right click here, configure. Everything's done in the right click, and once you're in there, once again, you have your search features by clicking on each one of these um, on the filters, and you can filter only filters or looking at fixed times, things like that. So you can break everything down into different sections or sectors as well as you're going through on each one of these things here. And then again, up here on new is where you're going to find where you pop out anything new. So, you got someone stuck on a call with you and he's like, well, how do I, a new multi-window? New multi-window? Just come to the new tab. And same thing, how do I load from the cloud? Tools, load from cloud. I'm going to bring up everything that is saved in a user's cloud. And then the same thing, how do I share the whole layout? Well, tools, save to cloud, and right here, entire layout. That's right there for you. Click entire layout and click save, and that's it. The whole thing is saved. So gonna stop again for a second if I'm going too fast or if there's anything you want me to circle back on at this point. And if not, then I think uh, a good exercise that I like to try to do either on my one-on-ones for newer users or when I'm doing any of the support webinars on YouTube is if you guys want to follow along with me, we'll make an exercise and build our own layout real quick. So the first thing that I'm going to say to do is let's all get on the same channel together and let's do Omni AI together. So I give you all a second and we'll go to Omni AI. And let's do this. I can't save or share it from the cloud. All right, false start. Let's go back again. Sorry. Let's go to. Let's start actually in the Traders Vault. Where are you, Traders Vault? Traders Vault. All right. Give you guys a second. Let me know when you're all in the Traders Vault. We'll start there instead of Holly. We'll add her afterwards in a different way. So, all right. I'm going to assume and move forward like we're all in the Traders Vault. And we're going to just take some random windows. We're going to save them to the cloud individually from here and from probably some other channels. And then we'll load those windows individually into the layout. And then we'll save that entire layout together just as an exercise to go through. So that just to show what we're going to do. So one of my preferred early scans in my first year, let's say in Trade Ideas, was this Extreme Volume High Low Pro. It's something that Andy put together, and just the basis of the scan, it's looking for stocks that are moving really fast and either making new highs in the day or new lows on the day. Some other features in it that they're breaking out of certain ranges on certain days and things like that. So I think it's a really solid scan that can always be shared with new users, especially because it serves both as an intraday scan and I like to use it as a to help me with swing trading as well, looking for stocks that are interesting on a swing chart. So if we right click and we go to, oh, how do we do this? Name history view mode. Sorry, ladies, this is tripped me up here.
Chris, you said that you're trying to save it to the cloud, right?
Yeah, but the individual window, yeah.
Oh, I think you have to pop it out and then it gives you
Oh,
that option to save.
look, you're teaching me now. Look at that. All right. Well, okay. So, all right. So thank you kindly, and we'll save share to the cloud. All right. So we're just saving that individual window. Um, I think another great scan that I've been a big fan of is this Turbo Up Family No Resistance. So, as so kindly pointed out to us, pop out, right click again, save share to cloud. I'm going to save that. And just as a reference, that scan is basically looking at stocks. They're in different colors because they represent different market caps. And these stocks, every one of them is basically at a new all-time high. The stock has never traded higher than this before, meaning there's no resistance going up anymore. No chart resistance as we would call it. So those are two good ones to start with. Um, for fun, let's go to the Squeeze Me channel. Give you guys a second for that to load up. This is kind of a popular set that comes a lot where what a squeeze essentially means is um, there's what's called shorting a stock, and when a ton of people are shorting the stock, as we can see here, the short float, that number starts to go up, meaning people are essentially betting on that stock price to fall. If that stock price keeps going up, those people have borrowed shares. They didn't buy them, actually. They've borrowed them, which means that if the stock price keeps going up, they have to essentially pay for those shares on that borrow to their broker, causing the price to run up more. So it's something that's very popular in trading. So we'll do the same thing again. We're going to pop it out. We'll right click. We're going to save and share this one to the, or save this one to the cloud. And then, so we've got a few scans as far as alert windows go. And let's do a top list as well to add to our layout. We'll pop that out again. We're going to save and share to the cloud. There we go. And then what's a layout without some charts? So we'll pop out the chart. We're going to save that. And then we'll do the same thing here on a single stock window, which I don't think we have to pop out, it doesn't look like, so we'll save that. And now we're going to close everything. So we're completely blank. And I'll give everybody a second to catch up here. And we'll load these all, and then I know it's 5 o'clock and everybody has to run places. So we'll do this quick. So are we good to go? Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfecto. So to tools, load from cloud. And let's see. Where is it? Everything that we just loaded. Okay, so there's the extreme high-low. So double click that. There we are. Alright. So if you want, you're just welcome to start going through each thing that you saved to the cloud and start loading them. And then I guess when everybody's got them all loaded, we will do it as an entire layout. Interesting. So I'm not seeing what I just saved. Are you all seeing what you just saved?
The only thing I saw was my short squeeze. The other ones that I saved like disappeared. I don't. It's weird.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Once I closed it, all the windows popped back up.
Huh.
That was weird. So when I closed it, all the ones I saved were there.
All right, just load. We can load what we have. I'm just wondering why I'm not seeing these things here when we just save them to the cloud. Save as default, clear default layout. Again, this whole learning curve of the web for me, I suppose, as well. Wonder if one other thing here to reset the connection. Because they should all be time stamped here. Like you can see here that this is when I saved these different windows. And so I guess there's the Urban Outfitters. All right. Yeah, that was what we saved. I don't see the multi-windows that we saved. That's where I'm getting tossed here. All right, there they are now. I don't know if maybe resetting the connection might have done it. So you can go to Tools and then Reset Connection and try that there. But the whole idea of this was that we saved each one to the cloud. So this is how someone could say, well, I want this window from this channel and that window from that channel. Well, they can go to each channel, pop the window out, save it to the cloud, and then they can load it from the cloud like this. So let's just say this is all I wanted to look at. So now we have this all together like that and range them however they want to do or anything like that. And then when we come back to Tools and we go to Save to Cloud, you can see here entire layout. And then you can even give it a title. So, test layout. And there we go. Now it's selected all the things that are here. It's showing us each scan or chart or single stock window, whatever that we have. And we click Save. And now when we come back to Tools and we go to Load from Cloud, see how it has a different symbol, Test Layout? That's there. So that whole TI symbol is showing me that's an entire layout, where this S is a single stock window. These bars are a chart. T, the top list. Scroll down, the M, the multi-window. The A, the alert. And so that's how we know what the type of window is that's saved. They're time stamped there. And it even tells us the file type. Take it one step further. Layout, single stock, chart, top list. I believe that's all the information that's displayed. And by double clicking, it should give us, yep, there we go. All right, so it won't give us on a double click, but so single click, load, and here we are. It loaded it like it was never there. And even if we go, we close everything, Tools, Load from Cloud, Test Layout, Load, and there we are, just like I'd saved. So you can go through any of the channels, you see a scan you like, you save it, all that stuff like that. So, and look, we all learned a few things new together here. We're teaching each other. I like it. So, all right, I'm going to stop there. If there's any quick questions that we want, I don't have anywhere personally to be at the moment other than some dinner to cook in a moment here. But hey, throw any questions at me, whether it's what we went over, if it's just a general question at all.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, so I guess we'll cut it there. I have the recording. I can either drop it in here, and it'll just live in this channel. I'll also try to load it to my YouTube channel, I guess, too, and make it public. Can reference it on either side that way, and I don't know. I guess we'll call it a day on that. And like I said last week, you can obviously see from Slack that I'm around my computer all the time. So any questions, just throw them at me at any time, whether you want to send them to me in a private message or in this channel or in the support channel, anything like that. So, all right, ladies, I hope that was helpful. And I'll cut it here. I'll stop the recording.